Hey everybody, I want you to head down to teespring.com and check out Bondy's Boutique and get some of Bondy's merch.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Bondy Blue and I am back for another Iyanla Fix My Life. So ironic, today I actually got a chance to meet Miss Iyanla. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have saw the pictures and a video that I posted. She was very gracious of me. I was waiting on the side for her to finish doing her thing, and it was only a short amount of time, but I told her about my reviews and how much I loved her and how much she's touched me. You know, she hugged me and kissed me on my cheek, took the picture with me, and I got out the way because I don't like to be a nuisance to anybody when there's so many people waiting and stuff. So, but it was just nice that she was so receptive and remembered me because Mezzanine, I think that's the way you pronounce it, but she is one of the women who's under Iyanla and watches my reviews of the show. So thank you so much for hooking me up. I hope I'm saying your name right. I think I am saying it wrong, but I know it when I see it. I appreciate you so much for being a go-between. And also Iyanla's manager for letting me know, because he could have totally brushed me off, but he didn't. So I appreciated everybody on her team that worked with me to get a chance just to meet her for the couple of minutes that I could. So yay! All right. Also, this episode of Iyanla is about a family. From what I've seen so far, it's the twin brothers and a younger brother and their abandonment issues with their father, who was a drug addict, a heroin addict.
The story was that he's trying to insert himself back into our lives after pretty much abandoning us like nearly 30 years ago.
And their mom was also a heroin addict, and she eventually passed away, I believe in 2007, I believe they said. So it's been a lot of turmoil with them. And it even starts off with the youngest son, Nigel, in breakdown and being upset. Before she actually spoke with him directly, she talked to Cornell. And Cornell says that the brother is drunk and high. So when she goes to talk to him, he says he's not drunk, he's not high. And then later he says he had a drink, but he wasn't high. Just not wanting to admit the drug problem issue on camera. That was very obvious to me. But they are orphans. They are seen as orphans. And having to be raised by a mother who was a heroin addict was very traumatic, especially for Nigel, the youngest one, who was taken everywhere with her, even into places he should not have been, seeing her shoot up, seeing her, almost OD before and things of that nature. So his moment of breakdown is very much like, yeah, it was going to happen eventually throughout this process. There's no way, somebody can go through all of that, come to Iyanla, and have their shit together enough to not have a moment like this. So when they explained the backstory and everything that happened, I totally understood. Another thing that Cornell and I discussed during the interview was his relationship with his mom. And he explains how he never really had that relationship with his mom. He was raised by his aunt, and the relationship with her wasn't great either.
And that's another person who I feel like is going to not like when this episode premieres, was my aunt. She had me and my twin since birth, like I said. I remember the first 7 years being, real dope. Like her bringing us to the park and monster truck shows, Disney on Ice. I remember stuff like that. And then she started dating. And when she started dating, that's when we kind of fell to the background.
Before Iyanla wants to continue with the process, she really wants to make sure that Nigel is okay. So when she does talk to him, besides the drug situation, we find out that Nigel has prostate cancer. At 26 years old, he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he was diagnosed 2 years earlier. He lost his health insurance, so he hasn't been able to take care of himself. And I imagine he can be in pain sometimes, so he's drinking and, maybe self-medicating in order to deal with that. And it has like this air of, I'm gonna die, so it is what it is. It has that about it, like that I'm trying to pull up a wall, and I don't care about the fact that I could die, He also has a daughter that he loves sincerely, and he doesn't want to be the type of father that he had, someone who is completely absent from the life of their child, somebody that's on drugs. He doesn't want to be that, but he is indirectly becoming that if there's a real drug problem here. And something made me feel like there was, because I've known people to be angry, but when everybody's calm talking to you, it's the setting where we're supposed to be talking about emotions, and the automatic thing is anger. That is obviously because of your childhood, but I also think it's because of drug use. When Iyanla asked him if he was high, he said that he doesn't have anybody to get anything from. And I'm like, so you didn't bring anything with you? But he does say that he's ready to deal with his father. And child, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to just say that. When Iyanla brings Cornell and Nigel together to talk, Nigel is extremely aggressive towards Cornell for putting it out there that he fears that he wants to kill himself or he wants to die. Because that is what he gave off. When they were talking the night before, he was irate. And what he said made Cornell think that he would hurt himself or try to kill himself. And when we find out he has cancer, there's a level of, I want to go off on my own terms in him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's something in there like that Cornell might have picked up on. And Nigel is just so upset. So pissed off. Y'all not gonna play with me like this. Y'all not gonna make me seem like I'm crazy or something like that. Like, he didn't want to talk about that shit on camera. They seem to think, him and the older twin, Cornelius, who is named after the daddy, but they call the daddy Neil. They all seem to think that they can work on their relationship with their dad and then not work on the issues they have because of their dad. No. Okay? That's not how any of this works. When you are trying to fix a relationship with a parent, there is no way that you are going to be able to begin to heal or mend that situation if you can't be honest about what you feel and what emotions have lingered with you because of the abandonment and neglect at your father's hand. Why he left you in the hands of a heroin addict. Why didn't he love y'all enough to get off drugs and come and get you? Like, these are all the questions that they have to have that have affected how they see themselves and their self-worth. And they've also affected the way they handle their own children. They may not think that their children are, feeling anything because of the things that they've been given, passed down, but they are. Just because your child isn't the object of your anger or the object of your anxiety or aggravation does not mean they're not experiencing it by being with you or around you when you're giving it to other people, their moms, other people, whatever. So the fact that they just are in such a serious denial about certain things, it just was like, oh my God, I don't know if she's going to be able to get through, with them with this. But eventually Cornell starts to cry because he doesn't want his brother to think that he would actually try to hurt him. Everything he's doing is because he cares and he doesn't know how to help him. So he's talking to the producers. He's talking to Iyanla because he knows that maybe they can help. And see, Nigel thinks that because his mom put him through so much, he deserves or should be the person that he is, angry, upset. He thinks that, naturally I would be like this, what I've been through. And it's like, no, baby, none of that is okay. None of that is right. And just because you went through that does not mean you should wear it like clothing. It doesn't mean that you get to treat people like, you're going to attack them when they express an emotion or care or worry about you just because you don't want to talk about y'all feelings. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, that annoyed me in the twin and in Nigel, that instead of retreating, they get angry when somebody wants to talk about how they feel about something. And I don't know what they think they're showing anybody, but they're showing us, for one, toxic masculinity, and they're also showing that they're weak in one way or another. And I don't mean weak as people, but I mean something in you is broken and you are trying to fight off everybody that's trying to help you with that or trying to understand it about you. You fight them off, in return constantly staying broken because you don't have the courage to face it. And because I hate to say weak because that sounds fucked up, but that's not what I mean. Like, not weak as in you can't do it, meaning you won't do it because it feels too difficult. But to me, to carry around all that anger seems much more difficult. Cornell explains to me the dynamic between he and his twin Cornelius.
So with me and my identical twin, we're mirror twins. We look just alike, but we are completely night and day opposites. Like, he's left-handed, I'm right-handed. His favorite color is red, mine's blue. He likes girls, I like boys. We've just been that way all our life. We just, whatever he likes, 9 times out of 10, I don't like it, I don't want it. You know, he wanted Ninja Turtles, I want rocket ships. That's just how it was. Like, our whole life. So it's touch and go. With us.
Now, when Cornelius does come in, it's obvious he doesn't want to be there. It's almost a condescending attitude and taking the same approach of, oh, I got stuff going on in my life, so I ain't really, this is an afterthought. I'm only here because my brothers are here. And it's like, so you mean to tell me you flew somewhere, come and stay in somebody's house, go through all of the things you have to go through to be on Fix My Life, and when you get there, it's like you just strolled in from down the block or something. like, bruh, you could miss us with your attempt to, put on this front for everybody. Like, miss me with that. Like, I feel like when men try to do that, it's like so obvious that they're like crying on the inside. It's so obvious. Like, just chill out, bruh. But he's like, I just don't have time for this. And it's like, then what you here for, baby? And it's the same thing. I'm trying to see if we could work this situation out. I want answers. But Cornelius' problem is that he is tired of hearing the answers that his father gives about it. Oh, I had a drug problem. Oh, I wasn't in my right mind. If that's it, I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, well, I don't know what else you're supposed to say about why you abandoned your children for a heroin addiction. I don't know what else you're supposed to say. Iyanla makes all three of them stand and put, their arms into the air, and Cornelius got this smug look on his face, but it's something that they needed to do. And I respect the fact a lot of people say Iyanla always goes at somebody the wrong way. And, she goes at them like this. And it's like, y'all notice that she didn't do that with them. Everybody doesn't get the same type of therapy. And I think that people need to pay attention to the personalities that she does that to. And then the personalities that she tries to have more kid gloves with. And I think that was her approach with Nigel, because you just don't know. So let me, be very clear and calm about what it is I'm trying to say, so that there's no room for, a misunderstanding. I pay attention to that. So when Iyanla made them stand, she made them say that they are children of God, of a father. There is a father that never left them, and that's one thing they need to remember, and that's God. And that they are their own men, and that they are their brother's keepers. The brother's keepers one, they definitely felt that one. The one that says I'm a child of God, everybody's kind of like, you can tell there's some anger towards God. When people do believe in God and things have happened terribly, or they've had terrible childhoods, there's sometimes an anger of why. If you love me, if you're there, why? And I think that's such a real thing to feel. But what you have to, at some point try to understand. And it's hard. It's an everyday struggle. Sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. But trying to understand that the things that happen to us are the building blocks of which we can eventually stand on. And you can't stand on them if they have holes in the middle, okay? And they're not stable. I don't know how else to explain that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you have to be willing to clean it up in order to be able to stand on it later as something that you got through, and not something that you just put down deep and, kind of let it fester in your stomach until one day it just comes up and explodes on everybody like vomit. Iyanla talks to Cornelius separately, the son, and he's talking about how, talking about his feelings makes him angry. And Iyanla says that he has a son of his own, and he needs to clean up his issues with his father and his own anger issues so that he can be a better parent. And when he was talking about what he was going through, he's currently going through a divorce. And he tried to make it seem like his wife is just like, I'm over you, nice life, moving on like Maya. But really, your anger issues have caused a rift in your marriage. And Iyanla asks, had his son experienced his anger? And he says, no, my son hasn't experienced my anger. Okay, let me ask another question. That's the same question. Have you argued and fought around your child? Yes, of course you have. Y'all live in the same house. You're going to fight and argue around your kids. But what he doesn't understand is that the kids don't have to be the one being yelled at in order to feel the fear. I can tell you that from personal experience. Okay? I very much could not stand and became a nervous wreck because of my dad's temper sometimes. Nervous wreck. Walking on fucking eggshells in my own house most of my childhood for fear of him being upset about any little small thing, whether it were towards my mom or towards me. And that's something he gave me and something I have to work on all the time, y'all. All the time. But Iyanla tells him he needs to let his heart break. That's another thing men don't like to do. Y'all don't like to sit in a room with some incense and a candle and cry. Y'all think that's feminine. It's not fucking feminine. You have to cry. You have to let it out. You have to let your heart break so that you can heal. Because if you just keep ignoring the problem, it will never get better. I can't say that enough. People really think that ignoring things will make them go away. Don't happen like that. Iyanla finally sits down with the dad, Neil. And he explains the mom got him on heroin. He got with her. She was a beautiful woman, but she was on dope. And one night she put the needle in his arm, and after that he was hooked. I said, oh yeah? Look, I'm not saying this story isn't true, but I swear I wish that mama was alive because I'd like to hear what she has to say about that. You know, grown-ass man, you let that lady get you stuck on heroin? Word. I just feels like that shows lack of character in one way or another. So then there was a life of crime in order to feed him and his wife's addiction along with the children that they were having. Okay?
When I was born, me and my twin were born by definition crack babies and was taken from my dad and my mom off rip. We were twins. We came prematurely early and they're watching them while we're in the ICU and then they're nodding off. Like twin was born 4 pounds, 7 ounces, was in the ICU for a day. I was born 3 pounds, 15 ounces, was in the ICU for 2.5 weeks. So I was the second twin, so I didn't think I was going to make it. So as the whole month that we were in the hospital, they're like watching them and then just like nodding off. They're like, oh yeah, we're not releasing these twins to y'all. So the state took us away off rip. And then we got placed in the care of my aunt, which is my mother's sister, younger sister. And she had us, since birth. So basically it was him and then he was gone. Like I had no idea where he was. I tried to go look for him several times and I had no idea where he was. Come to find out he was only a few towns away and he just really never tried. He popped up a week before I was getting ready to go off to basic training because I joined the Army at the time. I was 18 and that was his first attempt at trying to really insert himself into our lives, but it was never nothing serious.
And the one thing that the dad has to try to understand, and Iyanla explains this perfectly. Because he keeps explaining, they have to understand the drug addiction and what heroin does to you, and this and that and that and this. And Iyanla says they don't need to understand none of that technical shit you talking. They need to hear your heart. They need to know in their heart, in a simplified way, why they were abandoned for a $5 bag of dope. And this is when the father lets us know that the twins might not be his.
When I went to go visit my dad in September, I flew back home to Massachusetts. And me and him had dinner in Boston. And I remember him even saying something to the effect of, when you and twin were born, I didn't think you guys were mine. But the way he said it, I just took it like hood gossip. So when I saw the trailer on TV, that's the first time I seen it in the way he said it. I don't think they're mine. With this face. And I was like, wow. I didn't think that you really felt that way. Wow.
And I said, nah, boy. They showed pictures of the twins as children and then showed the daddy right after. And I said, how could you say that that's not your kids? Now, obviously, Cornell couldn't tell me, but I assumed based off of the conversation we had and what I'm looking at, that man is definitely them kids' father. So deep down, you let the idea that they may not be your kids keep you from going to be with them. But it's but you wasn't there for the youngest one either. And you didn't even say that you didn't think he was yours. But he talking about how the mama was sleeping around. Of course the mama was sleeping around. She's a dope addict. People ain't out here not fucking for dope when they, I I just feel like he's making excuses in one way or another, or trying not to dig as deep. There's still a level of, oh, I don't really want to deal with this because it's too much. But him saying that them not his kids, I'm just like, wow. Why not put that on the table years ago so that they wouldn't be walking around feeling a hole that you left? You know? Oh my God. He also didn't like when Iyanla called them orphans. And it's like, but they are orphans. Their mom is dead and you abandoned them. They are orphans. Like, don't get in your emotions about this shit now. You should have been in your emotions all these years. So then Iyanla goes into a separate room where the boys are, you know, for lack of a better term, the sons. And she tells them that she wants to get a DNA test based off of what the father has said. And Cornelius Jr. wants to understand, or the second wants to understand why you would give me your name if you didn't think I was yours. Good point. That was a good point right there. I was like, I don't understand neither. Cornelius said, that don't make no damn sense to me neither. But you know, everybody's doing dope. I don't try to make sense of these things. So they go ahead and get tested. Iyanla says it's only going to take 24 hours. So next episode, we'll find out the paternity, and then we'll get into the conversation amongst the children and the daddy. And I will probably be adding in more clips in that one too, depending on how much I edit them into this one. So I hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see y'all in the next video.